we are living in a season where angry mobs are mobilized to intimidate people into silence. It's not a new idea. It happened in the first century. It happened in the pages of our Gospels when the mob was turned on Jesus. And I don't think there's any question that some of the people that were celebrating on the Mount of Olives, the triumphal entry, took the bribes to stand in the streets of Jerusalem and shout, "Crucify him." Mobs are fickle. And the third group of people are the antagonists, those who have no intention of cooperating with Jesus. It's not from a lack of awareness. It isn't because they are peripheral to the message. They understand the message. They're not denying the healings, the blind eyes being opened and the lame walking. They're not really making any attempt to deny any of the supernatural attestation of Jesus. They're simply questioning, by what authority do you do this? You understand that's a ploy, it's a tactic. If you don't like the outcome, if you don't like what is being delivered, if you can't challenge the outcome because the outcome is being widely celebrated, people are being healed, blind eyes are being opened, people who are lame are being restored to mobility. So you can't credibly challenge the outcome. So the only plausible way to approach it, when he overturned the tables of the money changers, you are fleecing the people, you're stealing from the people. You are looting from the people of God. There's some compliance required of them, and in order for them to comply, you're extorting from them elaborate sums of money inappropriately. So Jesus' adversaries, they can't challenge that. The people are delighted about that. So they come to Jesus and say, by what authority do you do this? Pilate didn't tell you to do this. Herod didn't tell you to do this. Again, there's some very contemporary parallels to that. People who don't like things that are happening at the season, they can't really object to the outcomes because the outcomes are being widely celebrated. So the primary complaint is, well, you don't have the authority to do that, so we're going to oppose it. It's confusing. It was confusing to the disciples. It was confusing to the crowds. It's confusing to us. So this isn't just some theoretical Bible study about some pages from the hazy past that are connected to somebody that we care about. They are messages that are very, very relevant for the world we're living in. Because the spiritual forces that were in play in the first century in the streets of Jerusalem are in play in the streets of Tennessee. That was the word. I was just giving you a minute. So we're going to do this from a very high level, and we're going to move pretty quickly. We may come back and do this some more later. I'm not sure just yet, but I'm going to start in Matthew chapter 25, and Jesus is issuing some rather stern warnings. It's a lengthy discourse. These days, there's multiple days. There's a handful of days between that entry until he's betrayed. But the messaging that Jesus gives is very thematic. It's not random. And I'm going to see if we can link a bit to that. In Matthew 25, Jesus is talking to his disciples and to the gathered crowd. Now, he's giving them a very stern warning. It's a different warning than he's going to give to the leaders, to the power brokers. But it's nonetheless a very stern warning, and he's repetitive with it. I have given you one parable that he presented, but he presented many parables on this very same theme. It's as if he's talking to a slow group. In Matthew 25 and verse 1, he said, at that time, and he's talking about his return, his second coming, the parousia, which is intriguing to me that in the hours leading up to when he's going to be arrested and tortured to death, he's talking to his closest friends and followers about when he returns. And he says, at that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. You got a 50-50 chance of being in the right category. The foolish ones took their lamps, but didn't take any oil with them. The wise, however, took oil in jars along with their lamps. And the bridegroom was a long time in coming, and they all became drowsy and fell asleep. I don't want to unpack the symbols or the messaging in those waiting for the bridegroom. and those with the oil. What I would draw your attention to is Jesus gave us the punchline to the story in verse 13. He said, therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour. Now, he used several different parables, images, all of them leading to that singular conclusion, that the time of my arrival will catch you unaware. He said it plainly, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven. Well, I would make a suggestion to you. If Jesus himself told us repeatedly there is something that we cannot know, that perhaps it's not the highest and best use of our time trying to discern what he's told us we can't know. Well, I want to know. Duly noted. And when you see the boss, you can take it up with him. The other thing was an observation, if you meet somebody that says they know, you can just say, bless your heart, and then move along, because they don't know. But what Jesus did say to us, and he issues it to us multiple times, he said, it's very important, it's significant that you keep watch, that you be prepared, that you stay alert. In other places, he said, you want to be busy with the business of your master. You want to be fully engaged. You want to be fully alert. You don't want to be presumptive. You don't want to say, well, I'm waiting for the bridegroom and I have my lamp. You don't want to say, we have a long time yet, so we can delay with our assignments. I mean, he gives many layers to this, but it's a very consistent warning, and it's directed towards his closest friends and followers. He said, you won't know the precise timing, so be engaged. I'm belaboring it a bit because it's not the messaging that we get. Most of us are coached that maturity is having absolutely no question about our status with the Lord. It requires very little diligence, very little awareness. We've got all the big rock issues sorted out so we can lead life on our own terms. Now, I don't want you to live in fear of your salvation. But I would submit to you that Jesus' messaging is not of the same tone and tenor that we typically have wash over us. Keep watch, he said. Be alert, stay engaged, be busy. Treat every day as if it has significance. This isn't from the Gospels and from that week of Jesus' life, but it made such an impact on Jesus' closest friends that Peter comments on it near the end of his own life. So now the decades have slipped past since he was in Jerusalem with Jesus. Years have come and gone. He's got physical marks on his body that he suffered. He will give his life as a martyr. His remarkable strength has faded. Many of his friends are gone. I mean, there's time that has slipped past. And in the second letter, it's his second epistle, it's the last writings we have from Peter. He said, first of all, you must understand that in the last days, scoffers will come. Do you remember what Peter said on the day of Pentecost in Acts chapter 2? He quoted from Joel. And he said, this is what the prophet Joel said, in the last days I'll pour out my spirit on all flesh. He was a young man, full of a lot of things. And now he's an old man. And he's using similar language. He said, you must understand that in the last days, scoffers will come. How did he understand Acts chapter 2 when his strength was still unchallenged by time? How could he understand that to be the last days? And now with grayed hair. See, we have an incomplete understanding of time. We really do. I don't have time to unpack that with you in great detail, but listen to his counsel. He said, understand that in the last days, scoffers will come, scoffing and following their own evil desires. The scoffing will be rooted in their intent to give first place to their evil desires. They're not scoffing because the premise lacks credibility. They're not scoffing because there isn't realistic evidence that there is a God. They're scoffing because their preference is to follow their own evil desires. We're going to have the courage to stand in the face of those who scoff. We're going to have to decide whose approval we want.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Hit the bell for notifications. If you want to, leave a comment.